I've ridden in Quebec dozens of times now throughout the years since I was a little kid, until just this past season. I love riding in this area because Quebec offers a unique experience you can't get anywhere else. For this trip, we're going to be covering two separate regions in Quebec, Centre-du-Quebec and Chaudière-Appalaches. For Centre-du-Quebec, we're going to be staying at kind of a lodge hotel type place called Magloire du Lac William. And when we travel over to Chaudière-Appalaches, we're going to be staying at the Appalaches Resort and Spa. For this trip, I've got somebody joining me who I've grown up my whole life with, my cousin Mike. And he's my business partner. He's my cousin, but he's also a very good friend of mine. And Mike's been to Quebec many times before with SnowTrax magazine.
I've been coming to Quebec just about every year for the past 20 years. I've traveled just about every region across the province. This particular trip to Quebec is a little bit different than others because I get to travel with my cousin, and it's really actually sad that we don't get to travel together more often.
I've stayed at a lot of different places in Quebec. I've stayed at some that are super high end and make you feel uncomfortable, and I've stayed at some that are very mom and pops and they really cater to snowmobiles well. Magloire du Lac William is both. It's a super high-end lodge, hotel type atmosphere, but man, they're really happy to have snowmobilers traipsing about in their boots and their helmets. The goal for our first day of riding was to find this great big bridge. There's quite a spectacular bridge in the region that spans a great big river, and it's built specifically for snowmobiles and recreationalists, and it's quite a landmark. So we wanted to get to the bridge, check it out, see what all the fuss was about, and figured on our way there and back we'd have a good ride either way.
The first part of day one, we saw such a wide variety of trails. There were wide open vistas that we traveled across, edges of farmers' fields, tight twisties, and then tree-lined straightaways. It was just beautiful.
We managed to come across this one spot, a beautiful lookout on the side of a farmer's field on the side of a hill that you could see a long way through all these rolling hills, more farmers' fields and stuff. It was really a pretty place to stop partway through the ride, have a look around, and then get back on our way.
The scenery that was in front of us was simply amazing. We got off our sleds and it was nice to take a second to take it all in and just enjoy what we were seeing.
There are a few things about riding in Quebec that never disappoint. One is the trails, they're always great. Two is the food, you always eat well. And three is signage. Everywhere I go in Quebec, the signage is impeccable. On a self-guided tour like this one, it's really important that the signs be accurate and plentiful, and in this area they were. Centre-du-Quebec has done an excellent job with all of their intersections being signed.
Like on any snowmobile journey, you come to a lot of crossroads and a lot of T's, and we found the signage to just be spectacular in this area.
I think the thing that sets the Centre-du-Quebec region apart as a place that I would recommend other people come and visit is the diversity of trails, from farmers' fields to tight bush areas to wider open kind of bush roads. It really does offer a little bit of everything. The scenery here is certainly excellent. The bridge that we've come across is really a spectacular piece of construction. I mean, when I think about the fact that this bridge was built specifically for recreationalists like snowmobilers like us, it really gives you a graphic example of how dedicated to this sport the regions of Quebec are. At the end of the day, at the end of ride day one, I looked back on the ride and I thought to myself, everything came about just right for this ride. I mean, we had the great scenery, we had the great trails, we had great food, but the thing that really made this part of the trip fun was great friends, great people to ride with. And being able to ride with Mike, I've known him my whole life, he's my cousin, it was a different experience. We haven't been able to ride like this before, where we were on an adventure together, and it was a bit of an adventure, and we had a lot of fun, and it definitely changes the sport of snowmobiling when you can ride with people that you really enjoy riding with. We really did have a good time riding in the Centre-du-Quebec region, but this story was about more than just this region. We had a whole nother section of Quebec to ride the next day, and Mike and I, after a ride day like this one, were just bristling with excitement to see what the next day had in store. Ride day number 2 started at a very unique place called Appalaches Resort and Spa. This place really caters to a wide range of outdoor recreationalists. They have dog sledding and they have all kinds of things to do. Obviously, the snowmobile trail is groomed right through the middle of the place, so we parked our sleds outside our cabin, and in the morning when we woke up, we put our gear on, trekked outside, hit a groomed trail, and didn't hit a bump the entire day. I think the thing I'm looking forward to most about the Chaudière-Appalaches region and riding here on this portion of the trip is that I know the trails are wider. I know they're faster than our previous day's ride. Mike knows this area. He's ridden here a couple times, so he knows the area and is going to get us to the best spots.
I absolutely love riding in Chaudière-Appalaches. I always have a good time when I'm here. The trails are freshly groomed. They're wide, they're windy, they're tree-lined. There's a variety of hills. You can climb into the mountains, down into valleys. It's amazing.
Mike actually provided today's riding goal or destination. He knew of this lookout spot.
I've been to the Chaudière-Appalaches region several times, and I knew of this really cool spot that I wanted to take my cousin. So we rode the sleds to the top of Mont Saint-Magloire to this amazing lookout tower.
When we got up on top of that mountain and we took the little bush trail off of the main trail, I thought, okay, this is getting pretty tight. And then that trail you just started climbing, and it was like almost riding in the mountains at some points. The snow was deep, it's not a groomed portion of trail, so it was pretty extreme up in there.
The reason I love this spot so much is because you climb so high on the sleds up into the mountain. You know, you're getting glimpses here and there of these scenic vistas, but nothing compares to once you climb to the top of the scenic lookout tower.
Mike had talked this lookout up like nobody's business. He made it sound like this was the most impressive destination ever seen by snowmobilers ever. And when you pull up to the actual tower itself, it's pretty high and it's well maintained. And I could already tell when we were looking at the tower that by the time I got up there was going to be no obstruction. I was going to be able to see as far as the eye could see and get a real good picture of what this region looks like above the tree line.
Oh, that was cool. Crazy. Oh, you can see forever. It's amazing.
You know, the whole ride into Quebec, I'd been talking Luke's ear off about this tower, and he was probably ready to kill me. And quite honestly, I was really hoping that the scenery would be clear because I really wanted him to get the full glimpse of everything that it had to offer. But when he first stepped onto the tower, I think he was impressed. I think it really took his breath away.
After we were done at the tower, we basically had accomplished our goal. Mike had accomplished his goal. He got us there unscathed. On the way down, you get a different perspective than on the way up to a place like this because you are looking out over the spots that you're traveling to as opposed to looking up at where you're headed.
And you start to realize you're not just up a hill, you are actually on the side of a mountain. And it just takes your breath away, you know? Usually I can ride fast on a trail, but I was intentionally slowing it down just so I could see everything.
The most interesting part about it was at one point, we came around a corner and all of a sudden right there in front of you is this great big wind farm with all these windmills. They were out in the middle of nowhere. Literally, we were in the middle of nowhere and there was these humongous windmills just sitting on the side of this hill spinning away.
These last couple of days were amazing. Every time I come to Quebec, it's just a great experience. The people are friendly, the food and accommodations are always spectacular, and the trails are phenomenal. And if you disagree with me, clearly you haven't ridden here.
I've never come away from a trip to Quebec thinking, wow, I didn't really have any fun doing that. But this trip to Quebec was special, and it was more fun than I've had here, I think, ever before. Mike and I really had a good time together outside of work, outside of the office, just playing and having some fun. We got to see some really cool places. We experienced some different culture. We ate some incredible food, stayed at really nice places. It was just a whole experience. All the good stuff that you'd want in a great snowmobile trip wrapped up into one tight package. And I would recommend anybody come back here anytime. It's a great, great opportunity to experience snowmobiling all in one place.
If you like this video, post a comment and tell us what you think. Then click on this link to subscribe to SnowTrax TV here on the YouTube channel.